As members of the Global Farmer Network,
we believe agriculture is part of the solution,
not part of the problem.
We are committed to developing agricultural leaders
and sharing their stories across the globe.
We have one purpose:
to amplify the farmer's voice.
My voice.
Mi voz.
La mia voce.
My voice.
Welcome to Global Farmer Voices, a podcast by the Global Farmer Network, where we invite farmers from around the world to share their stories and perspectives. Hello, I'm Delaney Howell, host for this podcast series, and in this month's episode, we're featuring Gina Gutierrez, a Global Farmer Network member, a Mexican dairy farmer, and also a part of the wonderful staff that supports the Global Farmer Network's mission. Gina grew up on her family's farm but didn't realize her passion for the industry until returning to her family's operation after finishing up her marketing degree at university. Now Gina handles all the business aspects of their operation while working with the Global Farmer Network to help amplify the voices of farmers across the world.
I am a fifth-generation dairy farmer. We farm in the Central Highlands of Mexico, about 90 miles northwest of Mexico City. It's a very dry area, but we have been making it work for the past 80 years there. But my family has been a farmer for over 100 years. Currently, I work with my father, who's a veterinarian, my brother, an agronomist, and I take care about the business side of the farm. So the payroll, the inventories, purchases, all of that boring stuff so that they can do the job. And I just pitch in whenever I can.
Although Gina has an important role in her dairy farm's operation, she didn't always envision herself returning to her family's farm.
When I was a little kid, I did enjoy spending time at the farm. You know, it was fun. None of my friends had that opportunity to grow so close to nature, basically, because we live in a small city. I was actually born in Mexico City, as so my parents were and my grandparents. So the farm was a couple of hours away. And then we moved to this city where I live now because the closeness to the farm. My parents were very young. So as soon as my dad graduated from vet school, we moved there just to be a little bit closer to the farm. So it was very cool to be like the only girl that had a farm and actually knew what a cow was and how food was grown. But then in my teen years, I swear I didn't want to go to the farm. I would just want to spend time with my friends. And so summers and all of that were kind of heavy duty for me to go to a farm. So I went to business school thinking that I didn't want to be a farmer. And I graduated from business school and got a diploma on marketing. And then I realized when I was looking for a job, and I, at the same time, got to know a lot more about the farm, my co-op in Mexico City, and also the farmers that are part of it. And I talked to them and realized I already had a job. So I didn't know I wanted to be a farmer. Only it happened when I was 22.
Gina's family farm, Granja Tepeyac, dates back 5 generations when Gina's great-grandmother chose the name for their family's farm. Granja is a word for farm, and Tepeyac references the location where the Guadalupe Virgin was found. For nearly 50 years, their farm has been part of the Alpura Dairy Cooperative, the only dairy cooperative in Mexico. And during that time, the farm has seen tremendous growth. The farm grew from 300 cattle to now around 900 animals. Granja Tepeyac is considered a large dairy farm for Mexico, as about 96% of Mexico's approximately 250 dairy farms have fewer than 100 head.
Our main market is surrounding Mexico City. That is where my co-op has its main market. But we actually cover almost the whole country, and we are very proudly the only dairy company in the world that can export milk to the US. So we have farms that are certificated by the FDA and other agencies that allow us to actually export our milk. We also ship a little bit to Central America when we can, but our main market is the surroundings of Mexico City, which is a very large area with a lot of people there that should be drinking milk every day. My dairy co-op is the only remaining co-op in Mexico, regardless of what we do. This is dairy, of course, but there are no other co-ops like that in my country, sadly, because the power of the co-op is the cooperation, of course, between the farmers, but the power of the farmers to be the base, the building blocks of a business that is larger than our own individual farm. So that gives us a lot of advantages, a lot of strengths that probably other businesses and other ag companies do not have.
While working with other farmers in her dairy cooperative, Gina uses her social media platform to advocate for dairy farmers in the digital space. She created her social media presence around 9 years ago after attending a conference with 300 fellow dairy farmers, where she was asked what dairy farmers can do to counteract the negative media surrounding the industry. Putting her marketing skills to the test, Gina built a platform to share her story and the stories of other dairy producers, cutting through the negative media surrounding the industry.
And I decided to gather the information I already had about milk and the benefits for health and what dairy farming is and some images and all of that. So I decided to do it in a more formal way, and I opened a Facebook page. And my conviction, my only goal, and it still applies today, is that I'm happy if just one person reads that post and maybe reconsider drinking milk again, keeps drinking milk, or also changes the perspective around farming and how the good things we're doing already.
Gina's platforms have reached many people over the last 9 years. When she first started, she focused primarily on the science and fact side of the business, but eventually discovered her followers wanted to learn more about her and her family and their personal story and connection to the dairy industry.
At the beginning, I wanted everything to be science-based, not that it is not today, but I used to post the facts about milk and the nutrition behind it with the science, the source where I was saying protein is good for you and milk's protein is better because this and this and this. And as I have grown a lot, I realized, okay, now I built this reliable source of information. Now I can get away with posting a meme. Of course, it's always dairy related, farming related, but people come to me and ask me questions either on comments or direct posts. And sometimes it's out of my range, out of my scope, because I'm not a dairy technician or anything like that. But I do go to my dad or my brother to ask them to help me answer or provide a source of reliable information for them when I don't know the answers to very specific questions. The greatest thing is that the reposting they do as to show a sense of pride, because when I do post pictures from my farm, now that I share a lot of time with my nephew on the farm, it's a family legacy, it's a family business. We've been doing it for 100 years, and the commitment is the same. Take care of life, take care not only the life of the cows that are under our care, the soil where we grow the crops that we feed them, and also the families that work with us and the families that consume the dairy products that we produce.
As Gina was beginning her social media journey, so too was the Global Farmer Network, which is actually how Gina stumbled upon the organization before self-nominating herself to join the Global Farmer Network. She was accepted to join the GFN for the 2016 roundtable, then held in Des Moines, Iowa, during the World Food Prize.
The GFN hosted the roundtable kind of as a side event where farmers gathered around a table, literally, and talked about the challenges we're facing and the opportunities we bring also to the table. So it was a great week of discussions, but I didn't know what to expect. And it really gave me a platform to become a better advocate, because I learned a lot and came back home with friends from other countries that had some of the same challenges, but a different perspective or approach to face them. And, that sharing of experiences and knowledge transfer that goes in 1 week of the roundtable, just listening to other people speak, is a lot of personal growth. You come back home with a different perspective. 2 years later, in 2018, they selected me as the Kleckner Global Farm Leader Awardee, which is an annual also prize that is given to one of the GFN members. And I was like, I don't deserve it, right? I'm a farmer, a dairy farmer that advocates for milk, and you have a spectrum of amazing global farmers as well. So I was very happy, but that gave me a more sense of a commitment to GFN.
Little did Gina know at the time that participating in the roundtable in the United States would create a powerful change in her. She took hold of that knowledge she learned in Des Moines, Iowa, and quickly used it to become a better advocate for her farm and for agriculture. It truly opened her eyes to see that farmers from other countries were facing similar challenges as her and her operation. 2 years later, her brother Alfredo was also selected to join the Global Farmer Network, and Gina decided to ask for a permanent position within the organization. Now she serves as the lead trainer for new farmers joining the organization each year.
Together, we have built a very cool program that, as a farmer myself, a member of the Global Farmer Network, I approach it as, what do we need? The very basic stuff, because the farmers that are selected, they're already great at communicating their stories, they're great at sharing. It's just giving them tips and tricks to really help them further their story and advance their skills that they're already amazing. So our job is just to provide a little guidance and offer that platform that was offered to me as well.
Each year, about 15 to 20 new farmers are selected from hundreds of applicants to join the Global Farmer Network and participate in a roundtable event. These events are truly hard to put into words, as they are a unique experience for every new incoming cohort class. The farmers in each new cohort all hail from different countries, backgrounds, farming operations, sizes, and are diverse in almost every single way. The knowledge that is shared during their week together in a foreign country, learning alongside each other, is something that is simply hard to share to someone who has never experienced it firsthand. Throughout their week together, that cohort class shares stories of their own farming journey. They laugh together, cry together, and break bread together. And there is nothing more powerful than sitting in a room with colleagues from all over the world. Soon, the GFN will be hosting the next roundtable of cohorts in the United Kingdom with these new members. Gina shared some insight into who this next class of GFM members is and what they will do upon their arrival to the roundtable.
Because the groups are so different, so the connections that go through the virtual training before meeting in person makes every group so different and so special in their own way. But when we do meet together, we start out by just mapping out ourselves. Where you're from, what do you do, what you grow, what you raise, and then actually delve in the challenges and opportunities. How can we shape the perspective from the public? How can we address policymakers into taking into consideration the farmer's perspective, because that is the essence of the GFN, actually amplify the farmer's voice and provide us with a platform so that our voices are heard. This class is I think one of the more diverse groups that we've ever had, and every group is diverse. We look for geography, gender, age, type of farming, size of farming, everything comes into the nominations and the selection process. And this group is really special because we cover everything: north and south, east and west, young and more experienced. I don't want to say old. Also gender. So and farm types and sizes. We have livestock, we have farming in very wet and tropical areas, very dry areas as well, up in the mountains or, in the middle of nowhere. Just a little hint of what motivates him. I think it's going to make a very special group for meeting in London. It's just a few days, really.
Here is a short clip of what Gina shared regarding her hopes for the future of the Global Farmer Network.
I want the Global Farmer Network to be the #1 organization anyone can think of when they think of farmers. And not only farmers, but farm leaders, advocates, influencers, people that are willing to collaborate. I want us to be the #1 reference when a farmer voice is needed, when a farmer voice is helpful, when a farmer is, just need to be present. I want us to be the #1 organization because we were created by farmers in 24 years ago, and we're still led by farmers. Even our staff is ag related. Everyone is, I guess. So that makes us really special. And to have individual voices is very useful because it speaks about the authenticity. We're not telling the farmers what to say or what to advocate for. That is our special trait. And I guess that will help as a jumping start to becoming that #1 organization in the future.
Gina has truly been an instrumental part of the success of the Global Farmer Network, continuing to amplify farmers' voices across the globe. We would like to thank her for taking the time to share her story and the impact the GFN has had on her life with us. If you're interested in learning more about the Global Farmer Network's mission and its members, seeing some of the things the organization is doing, and finding out how you can get involved, please visit globalfarmernetwork.org. And if you'd like to support the Global Farmer Network through a donation, you can do so at globalfarmernetwork.org/donate. If you enjoyed the podcast today, be sure to subscribe and follow the Global Farmer Network on social media: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, and YouTube. Until next time, I'm Delaney Howell, and this has been the Global Farmer Voices podcast.